What's up, YouTube? In this week's On the Mats, I'm going to introduce a new segment called Coach's Corner as we take a look at some competition footage coming up right after this. Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of On the Mats, and in this episode we're going to take a look at some competition push hands footage from Troy in California. Troy was recently at my workshop my mini workshop in LA. And he asked me on Facebook to go ahead and take a look at the video of his performance and give him some feedback. All right, first of all, props to you, Troy, for stepping out on the mats and testing your skill. I think that always has to be said no matter what. So if you're not familiar with push hands, the format can vary widely depending on what the tournament is, who's judging, and what the rule sets are. There's a lot of different versions. In this case, in the IMAC, is pretty free. So it's a good rule set, and it kind of comes down to like somewhere like a cross between like a no-gi judo match and a little bit kind of sumo-ish. All right, so Troy already got a lot of technical feedback on Facebook from other grapplers and Chinese martial arts guys like from Swaijiao. So rather than focus on any one technique or strategy, more or less, we're going to focus mostly on body mechanics. And then I want to end the video on a positive note by talking about a few things that I saw in the video that I thought Troy did really well. All right, so the first tip that I want to offer is to make better use of the wrist as the point of contact, or to maintain the point of contact by pinning the wrist rather than the hand, which is something that we talked about when I was in LA. There was a couple of times where I saw in the video that your hand was laying flat on your opponent's arms and he was able to use that against you for control. If you maintain that wrist as a pivot point, or the pin the wrist as a point of contact, you'll be able to use that or maintain it as a pivot point for defense a little bit easier. All right, so my second tip would be to just get more comfortable with working from the lower hand position. Our sticky hand drills can definitely help with that. One thing that I noticed in the video is it seemed like you were spending a lot of time and energy just fighting for the upper hand position. Getting a little bit more comfortable with controlling your opponent's balance and mass from the lower hand position would go a long way, especially when you're working with a much taller and heavier opponent like you were here, and he was basically just posting out on you a couple times, as you can see in the video. And lastly, I would work on maintaining the alignment of the shoulders and the hips a little bit better, what we would talk about under the balance of the 13 points, or the balance of yin yang in the body. But we see here where you move either the shoulders or the hips first, as opposed to both together winding in and out of the feet. And so you really end up compromising the position of the spine and your ability to generate power or to transfer power from the feet out to the point of contact, or vice versa. On a positive note, I was really impressed with how you managed to avoid what in Kung Fu they call leg reaping, or in Judo like they call a sotogari, despite being totally caught up in the double underhooks, which I think, if I recall correctly, in wrestling they call a whizzer. Secondly, there's a point in the first round where you wind up with your back turned to your opponent, and you manage to use a very kind of like bagua type of turning and stepping to be able to reorient yourself quickly and prevent your opponent from being able to take advantage or control your back. And lastly, I thought you did a really good job of controlling your opponent's arm after the failed single leg takedown attempt early in the first round, preventing him from being able to get that half guillotine on you. That's it for this week's On the Mats and our first edition of Coach's Corner. Do you have a video that you'd like to have some feedback on from me? Hit me up on Twitter @LoyaGongfu, or drop a comment in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Position would go a long way towards... I totally forgot it again. Okay. Were you signaling me?
No, I was good. Yeah, that's...
Pit stains.
Whatever. Woo!
Cut it.